Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I have something very different because it's not really comic books, but it's something adjacent in my mind anyway. So, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to show you a collection of concert posters that I have. Small collection of Tool concert posters, my favorite band Tool. Also have a couple concert posters from Puscifer, which is Tool's lead singer Maynard James Keenan. He has a couple other bands he's in, and one of them is Puscifer, which I'm also a really big fan of. So I have, I think, 8 Tool concert posters. I got 2 from Puscifer, so I'm going to show those to you today. Now, for me, I'm a big fan of graphic design. I've talked about this a little bit before, but with comics, for me, I love the covers, and it's really important to me what the logo looks like, what the other design elements are. It's kind of the fundamental reason that I love comics is the combination of images and words. So I love advertising posters in the same way that I love comic book covers. And the type of posters that I love the most are travel posters and concert posters. And for pretty much the same reason, it's because you get not just the image, but you get the meaning of the image as well as nostalgia for the subject all together. If you have either a travel poster of a place you've been, a concert poster of a concert you've been to, or even just a band that you like. When you have just the right concert poster and you see that image, it's not just the artwork. You have whatever the artwork shows you, whatever that visually represents to, or whatever feelings that stimulates. But then, you'll have it conjures up the feeling of the music from the band, but also the event that you went to, right? And for travel posters, it's again it's very similar to me. It's not just the picture, but the combination of the picture with the name of the place reminds you of the trips you've taken to that place. So those are the posters that I really love, and I do have even travel posters that I for places I haven't been. I love those as well because it's the romance of it, the imagination of wanting to go there, right? So I do have a number of travel posters as well. I'm not going to show those, but today I really wanted to show my Tool poster collection. Now, just to preface my poster collection, they're not all concerts I've been to, but some of them are. And to be honest, they're not even all posters that I love that much. So when it comes to the Tool posters, I basically had 2 different periods where I was buying Tool posters. In 2002, I got a new job and I got a new apartment. And I decided to decorate that apartment. I wanted to buy some Tool posters. And at that time, I bought a number of posters, mostly off of eBay. So this is pretty early days for eBay, but it's 2002. And some of the posters I got were actually in lots of posters. Just like I'll buy lots of back issues and I'll get this one and that one that I like, and I'll be left with some stuff that I don't care about that much. It's the same with the concert posters. I would buy a lot of 2 or 3 or 4 concert posters and get the 1 or the 2 that I wanted, and then also get a couple others that I didn't care that much about. Now, some of those posters I don't have anymore. I've given them away or sold them in the past, but I still have a couple that I'm just sort of like, whatever. And then I have the ones that I really care about. So I got a number of those in 2002. Hadn't seen the band in concert yet when I got those, but in 2004 I saw them several times. I think 3 times on the 2004 tour. And for whatever reason, I don't remember seeing concert posters at those shows. It's possible that I just missed it, or maybe for some reason they weren't selling them. I don't know, but I didn't get any of those tours. I've seen Tool 6 times. So the second batch has a very similar story. In 2012, I bought a new house. And the same thing, I was going to decorate it, but I also saw Tool in concert that year, multiple times. And so that time around, I was conscious in my head. I was like, I want to look for the concert posters. Um, I do have concert posters for other people that I've seen as well. Not as many, but I've got like a Lisa Hannigan concert poster, I've got a concert poster for Hosier. I've got a couple other really cool concert posters. But when I was going to these tool shows, I went to get them specifically, and I got a couple from that show. So I have a combination, again, of things that I just bought to decorate with in either 2002, in 2002, or posters from shows that I went to in 2012, with the caveat being that when I went to those shows, they actually had for sale some of the concert posters they had left over from other shows on the tour. So I did get one poster from a show that I wasn't at, and you'll see exactly why when I show them to you. Now, it's going to be a little tricky to show them because they're very big and some of them are framed very heavy. So this spot here on the wall, I'm going to be leaning some of them up there, the ones that are in frames, and bring the camera over so you can get a good look at them, because there's just no way for me to hold them up. They're too big. But I am going to show a few of them first that are not framed. So let me grab those real quick here. We're going to start. These are 3 concert posters from 2001, 2002, not shows that I went to, but again, when I bought these lots of posters to decorate with at the time, these are all original concert posters. A lot of I think they're all signed, and some of them are numbered, so they're limited edition. So we'll start with the smallest one I have here. This is by an artist called Uncle Charlie. It's pretty simple design, but I do like it. I had this framed for a number of years, and I don't remember why I took it out of the frame, but for some reason I took it out of the frame. It may have just been a case of me wanting to not have to store the frame. I don't really remember. For whatever reason, anyway, so now I have it loose. And again, so this was on display for a number of years in my old apartment and in my house, but now it's out of the frame. I have a couple here that I've never actually displayed. So we'll start with this one. This is by, it says designed by Bob Massey and Scotty C. And this is Tool, of course. And it says with Corazon. Tool with Corazon. It says Milan, Italy. Over here it says at Alcatraz, which apparently they have an Alcatraz in Milan, Italy. And the date here, May 30, 2001. So the previous one said October 28, doesn't have the year on it, but the copyright's 2001. So I think that's the previous one, October 28, 2001, and that was from the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion. Doesn't say where that's located, but this one here is from Milan, Italy. As you can see, it's done sort of with it. It's got like a medieval sort of figure here, almost like I want to say a stained glass window, but actually I'm thinking more like the illuminated manuscript sort of figure. You can see the shield here, and then there's 2 big goat skulls at the top. So it's a cool poster, but again, it's not my favorite, and I've never displayed it. It's just been in storage for the last 20 years. And so is this other one, which I do like a little bit better, but there's certain reasons why I've also never displayed it. This is a limited edition, 218 out of 350, dated 2001. And you can see here. Okay. This may sound weird to some of you, but again, I was talking about how important the graphic design element to me is. The main reason that I've never displayed this is how hard it is to read the Tool logo. So it's like, it's not immediately apparent that it's a Tool poster unless you already know it, because the logo is so small and obscured and hard to read. Now, the actual image is cool. There's a woman here not naked. She's actually wearing a dress. But you can see all the incredible detail with all the wiring and the sort of schematic stuff going on here. So it's really cool detailing. It has a very comic book feel to it, which obviously I really dig. So, I mean, this is a really cool poster, but again, I just don't like the way the logo is represented. This does actually have um, the date on it, and it says Osaka, Japan, August 12th, and that's barely legible right down here. Again, don't know for sure what the year is, but the date on it seems to be 2001 for the signature. So again, I'm going to guess these are all from the 2001 tour, which makes sense because I got the new apartment in the late spring of 2002. So these posters were all just a few months old at the time that I got them. And I've got two more posters from that tour that I'm going to be showing at the end because they're framed. I wanted to mention in terms of value, I don't know that any of these are really worth all that much. The value of these posters fluctuates quite a bit, but also it depends a great deal on personal taste. Just so, like this poster here, you can still get on eBay and it's not that expensive. And I think other people probably feel the same way I do. Whereas there's a couple that I'll show you later, one in particular that's actually quite expensive because it's so cool, and I think everyone thinks it's so cool, which is the whole reason I bought it. So anyway, don't think any of these are particularly valuable, but they're neat. All right, so let me grab the next ones. Now this next batch of posters are from 2012. Now these are shows that I went to, and two of these are among my absolute favorites. I just haven't got around to getting them framed because they're unusual dimensions. So I'll probably have to have custom frames made for them, and I just never got around to doing it before my wife and I moved in together. And as you can see from this giant blank wall, even though we've been here for 6 years, I've still never finished decorating. The house is mostly decorated now. It actually took us like 3 or 4 years to get the decoration set. But here in my office, I still have a bunch of space. I have everything that I'm going to put up on display here, and I've never gotten around to putting it up. So that's why these two posters are not framed. Now, this first one I'm not as big a fan of, but it's cool because the art's by Adam Jones, the bass player for Tool. I mean, the lead guitarist for Tool, sorry. And Adam does a lot of their graphics. He's an artist, and he does a lot of cool stuff. This just isn't among my favorites, but it was a show that I went to. So here it is, January 28th, 2012 at the TD Garden in Boston, Mass. And you can see this is a big one. I love the colors, and I love the basic design. Like, I like things that have like a really strong graphic design. So it's great in that sense. The two-tone black, the red, the figure, everything. Just the actual art isn't quite my style. It's cool, and I think for the right person, this would be an awesome poster. But for me, it was more like one that I got sort of to commemorate, the concert, but less to really display. So I've never had this on display. It's not in perfect condition. It does have a couple bends up in this corner up here, which I'm pretty sure were from just trying to get it out of the arena intact, because they sell out. Some of them sell out at the show. You don't want to wait necessarily until after the show to buy a concert poster because they might be gone. That's happened to me before. So you end up buying it, and then you're just holding a concert poster in this crowded, sweaty, mosh pit for 3 hours or something. So it's hard to get them back perfect, but it's a really cool poster. Now, I went to 3 shows that year, and one of them I didn't get a poster for. I don't remember why. Might have been that I just didn't like the poster. The other show I went again, 3 shows. I saw them, I think, I want to say in Providence, but I'm not sure about that. But here's a show that I did see them at, and this is one of my absolute favorite posters. And this is from Uncasville, January 31st. So the last one was January 28th. This is just 3 days later. I went to another show. Check this out. How awesome is that, right? Absolutely great. Absolutely love it. Um, I love Art Nouveau. Again, don't know really what the value of these are. There's one of these on eBay right now. They're asking 250, but it hasn't sold. So whatever it's worth, it's less than 250, or someone would have bought it, right? But really looking forward to getting this framed at some point and displayed, in particular because when I went to buy this, again, I absolutely loved it. January 31st. Now, in between those two shows, so they played the Boston on the 28th. They played Mohegan Sun in Connecticut on the 31st, but in between those, they went to New Jersey. So on the 29th, they went to New Jersey, and the 29th is a matching mirror image poster. So when I went to buy the one from Uncasville, the show that I was at, they still had just a handful of these left from the show 2 nights earlier that they hadn't sold out of. And obviously they go together. They're mirror images, not just in the coloring, but they're facing opposite directions. So you can have them either facing each other or facing away from each other. But I had to get the set, right? So I bought both of them at that time. So again, absolutely love it. Going to get both of them framed at some point, and I think I'll probably have them facing each other. But yeah, absolutely love these two posters. Two of my favorites. Okay, I've got two more Tool posters to show you. They're both framed. They're both from the 2001 tour. One of them is directly behind my head. So I'm going to pause this again, and I'm going to detach the camera so we can get a nice close-up of it. Here we go. All right, so this is one that I had on display both in my apartment and in my house for a number of years. Did not attend the show, bought it strictly because I just really like the design. Again, it has some very comic book elements. Let me get in real close here. You can see it's got like the dot printing, like an old comic book. And it's also got just the way it's drawn is very comic booky. So obviously it appealed to me. The sort of comic book style explosion, emphasis explosion behind the head. So this is one that I've just always really liked. This says May 15th, the Tabernacle, Atlanta. And it's got some information down below there if you want to call them to buy tickets. Now, again, I think this is 2001, and this is not an expensive poster. I was just checking the prices on eBay recently. I think you can still get this poster pretty cheap. It is a limited edition. So mine's signed down here. Let's see if I can signed on this corner. Then on this corner, it's numbered as 214 out of 350. Regular edition, there are a couple variants with different printing. So the concert poster community is very similar in some ways to the comic community because they have limited edition variants and the same sort of thing. There's metal variants, there's foil variants and stuff. So it all gets a little bit goofy. I prefer the regular editions. I don't like the ones that have like the weird coloring or any of that. I just want the normal version because normally I think it looks better. This again, even though it's limited to 350 made and it's over 20 years old now, I don't think this poster is particularly expensive, but it's really cool. So, I mean, if you are a fan of Tool, this is a really cool option to get at a good price. And finally, last Tool poster. This is the big one. I mentioned this earlier, the one that's worth money. You can see it's got a date. It is 25th of June, 2001. And it's from Berlin, Germany. The artist's name is Emek, and signed and dated down in the bottom corner here, Emek 2001. There are a couple different versions of this. Again, there's one with a different coloring, and then there's a metal version, I think. This is the regular version. Now, before I get into the value, I'll just say a couple things. First of all, I just absolutely love it. the sort of, you know, steampunk robot figure. I love the design elements with the sun rays behind them. The vertical logo. I just love everything about this poster. So this has always been sort of the centerpiece. This was the centerpiece of my living room when I had my apartment back in the day, and it was also the centerpiece of my living room in my old house. So this is sort of like the big piece that I always display, and I love it. Mine is not in perfect condition because when I got it again, it was just a few months after this, at the beginning of 2002. So this was not, none of these posters were like collector's editions really yet. They were new. So it didn't have any particular value other than just whatever posters cost. So this was the most expensive of them, but I still only paid $50 for this on eBay. And, at the time I didn't have much money. I was trying to decorate my place on a budget. So I just brought this to the mall to like Prince Plus to have them put it in a crappy frame just so I could hang it. And in order to do that, they actually affixed the poster to some like poster board. So I've taken it to a conservationist, and they basically said it could damage the poster to try and remove it. So they said it's best just to leave it here. So it does have a poster board affixed to it, or vice versa. I don't know how that affects the value, but I do know that last time I looked, this was going for about $1,500. What's unfortunate for me is that there's a second Tool concert poster by EMAC with a different robot figure. It's a black and white, and it's absolutely awesome, and I always wanted to get that to display them side by side. But by the time I saw that poster, it was already very expensive. Now, I don't know what it's going for now. Historically, it hasn't been worth as much as this one, but it's still very expensive. And I think the last time I looked, when I first started looking to buy it, it was like $350, which I did not have. And last time I looked, it was up to like $900. So again, it's just, I've kind of written that off, but I really wanted to have the matching robot people, same artist, same band, to display side by side. But this has brought me a lot of happiness over the last 20 years that I've owned it. It's, I have a very small collection of concert posters, but this is obviously, it's the highlight, both in terms of value, but more importantly, in terms of like both aesthetics and like a personal meaning for me. So this is kind of the centerpiece of my poster collection, and I absolutely love it. So those are my 8 Tool posters, but I also have a couple of Puscifer posters that are framed, and I wanted to show those as well. I'm a big fan of Puscifer, and they have some really excellent posters. So both of the posters are from the 2015 tour. This was a show that I went to. I bought this poster at the show. So you can see down at the bottom, it says November 12, 2015, the Orpheum Theater, Boston, Mass. And that tour had a luchador theme. So at the concerts, they actually had a wrestling ring, and they would perform the music from inside the ring, but also they had actual luchadors that would come out and do, like, they would wrestle and stuff during the songs, and between songs they would be putting on a wrestling show at the same time as the concert. So it was really cool. I saw them 3 times on that tour. This is the only one of the posters that I got from the shows that I attended myself. But all of the posters had a luchador theme to them. And this is something that Puscifer's done kind of on all of their tours since then, at least, is that there'll be like a theme to the tour, and all the posters will reflect that theme. Now, Puscifer was just on tour earlier this year, I think end of last year, beginning of this year, and they had an alien space theme. So all of the posters have aliens or astronauts or alien astronauts, spaceships, and so it's a totally different feel. They're all sci-fi posters. Each of the venues, they have the posters by different artists, but it's really cool to see them all together. And there's some amazing posters from this tour that I wish I had, because they're just so cool. There was one that looks like the cover of like a pulp magazine, all in Spanish with the luchador and stuff. It's so cool, and I really want that one. And I wanted it at the time, but these are more limited than the other ones. So like the I don't think I mentioned, but for instance, the Tool Art Nouveau posters, those are each limited to 500. These Puscifer posters only limited to 200 each. So they tend to be a little more expensive just because they're harder to find. So there's this one, but I bought one other one just because I thought it was cool. Not a concert I went to. Again, I saw them 3 times, and I don't remember the posters from the other 2 shows that I saw them at, but I didn't like them as much. But there was one from a show that I wasn't at that I really loved, which I bought. So let me show you that one as well. Here it is. This is from Charlotte, North Carolina, November 10, 2015. You can see again the luchador theme, but I love the colors on this. It's almost like they're sort of replicating like a blacklight poster, but it's not actually a blacklight poster. They've just done the colors in a way to give it that sort of blacklight vibrancy. I love the logo. It's just, everything about this is just so cool. I just love you guys know I love the bright colors and the unusual colors. So like everything about this just ticks all my boxes. And again, it's very comic book art style. Unlike, some of the other ones, even the last one had a comic book cover sort of feel to how the art is done. But this one does too. Like the line work and everything, it's very comic booky. So this just ticked all the boxes for me. This one is actually even more limited than the last one, because this one here is numbered 19 out of 175. So there's only 175 of these made. Again, they probably they may have done like metal versions or something like that in even more limited editions, but I'm not really counting those. These, I have no idea what the value is. I know that so buying these at the show, at the time, which was 8 years ago, it was like $40 for the poster at the show. Now, Puscifer has on their website some of their posters available in limited editions from this year's concert, and they're selling them for 100 each. So I don't know if there's a markup there, because they're like their own secondary market, or if it now costs $100 to buy a poster at the show. I honestly have no idea. But digging these out and looking at them has definitely got me looking at some of these other posters, and there's just some that are just so cool. But I always have to sort of juggle that, not just with the money, but just sort of thinking, but what am I going to do with them? I have limited space to display stuff. None of these posters actually have been on display since my wife and I moved in together 6 years ago. So, do I want to spend $100 on a poster that this is going to be in storage? I don't know. I kind of feel like if they deserve to be on display, and I need to be able to look at them to justify the cost. So for now, I'm in a holding pattern on buying any more. Because of my health issues, I haven't really been able to go to any shows in quite a while. Tool was just on tour, and just like Tool's on tour now, I think, and Puscifer was on tour earlier last year into the beginning of this year. I had chances to get tickets for both of those, but I didn't, because it's just hard for me to do concerts these days. So, if I was tending, it would be different, because then I'd, be more likely to buy them in person, again, to sort of commemorate the experience. But, I don't know. I really love this sort of stuff. Again, I also have some travel posters, but those are more These are all originals, and I'm sort of, as a historical guy, I feel the same way about posters as I do about comics. I don't like reprints. I want the originals. The travel posters I have are pretty much all reprints, and they're more just for the design. I mean, we do have some hanging of those hanging in our dining room, because we have sort of a travel theme to our decorations in our downstairs in our living room, dining room. So I do have some of those on display, but I don't really feel like showing those. But these, they feel very comic booky to me for what I hope are obvious reasons. So I hope you see the connection, and I hope you found this interesting, even if you're not a fan of the bands. Let me know what you think down below. I had some other tool stuff I was going to show, but it's in storage right now. Like I have my old Tool Army membership kit. I was one of the first people that joined the Tool Army fan club back in the day. I was crazy. I went to their website the other day and it said they had 560,000 members, and now there's like a $60 a year annual membership fee. But I'm grandfathered in because I was like member number 4,000 way back. Like I signed up right as soon as they announced it. I signed up. And I'm grandfathered in with a lifetime membership, but I have all of my kit somewhere. And there's a bunch of stickers. I've got a membership card and I think maybe a lanyard, like you would wear if you're like a backstage pass or something. It can't get me backstage, but I have that kit somewhere in storage, so I wasn't able to show that. But let me know what you think down below. I'll see you next time.